There is a lack of light this morning, but we will find a way to make this chat, to make this talk beneficial. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Thank you for all your participation, your patience, your continued support. So as always, guys, as you stop in, please take an opportunity, drop into the chat where you're checking in from, what time of day it is where you are. Did not think that would have been a great thing to do. My wife just sent me a suggestion as to what I could do so that we weren't in the dark all morning. She suggested that I use the light on one of my other devices as a flash, which would have made perfect sense. I did not do that. So we're gonna try to make it through this. Again, I do apologize for the difficulty. And here we are. So, as always, guys, we'll head up to the top of the hill. The talk this morning is about focus and what area of our lives we could use more focus. Where am I going, man? Long term, short term. As you let me, who is this? Dinned up. Right now, man, I'm going to the precipice. I'm going to the top of the mountain, man. Going to the mountaintop. Share with you this mountaintop up here. You won't be able to see me, but you will be able to see this beautiful outlook I have here. Just over the city lights as the day begins. As always, guys, please check in. Let me know where you're checking in from, what your location is, what time it is where you are. Thank you for being here. Where am I going right now? On my walk and talk, man. Every morning I get out, use this opportunity to get some clarity, man. Make sure I'm focused so I can know exactly where I'm going. Making sure I'm doing the work to get there. Taking my time to invest in myself and my thoughts and my family, understanding my purpose, making sure every morning, thank you very much, making sure every morning I'm taking this time to prepare myself to live my journey to its fullest, to be dedicated and to be on my purpose. So I take this walk. It's a workout in the morning. It's around the neighborhood. It's an opportunity just to make sure that I'm understanding my purpose as part of this growth and development process for me. This does contribute to fitness, but it is not a fitness designed element, if that makes sense. So Guyana, did him up, is from India, 2 p.m. Welcome in, India. Thank you for being here. It's a pleasure to have you here. Where am I? Michigan, hi, 4:44 a.m. Welcome in, Michigan. How are you guys doing? Thank you very much for that. So I appreciate having you guys in here this morning. Again, as I said, difficulties with the equipment this morning. might need to get a new camera set up, or maybe just need to find out exactly what I'm doing wrong with this one. But as always, I'm up in the morning, we're here, we have these positive conversations, we have these talks. It's all about development and growth. It's all about having an understanding of where we are, what are the positive actions that we can take to continue to build our lives and grow on a regular basis. Doing great as well. I'm doing great as well. I'm out here focused on the growth, and that's what today's talk is about. Today's talk is about focus. I'm not sure if you guys have taken a look at the survey. Please do if you haven't, and you'll see in today's survey there is a specific discussion about, there's a specific question about focus, and in what area of your life could you use more focus? For a lot of us, focus is something we don't think about. You have to focus on focusing. If that makes sense, you have to double down. In the discipline dividend strategy, or the discipline dividend system, part of the strategy is making sure that we are intentional with our behaviors. So certain things in your life, a lot of things in your life, you're not going to think about unless you think about them, right? So when we get pretty good at doing things, when we get fairly talented at achieving certain things, we don't have to think about them anymore in order to be able to get them done. They kind of go into, they fall into a category where they just become kind of like second nature. Yes, that's what this entire walk is about. It's advice on how to build discipline. Is that Aaron? Stick around, Aaron. We're going to talk about building discipline right now. The current focus on, good morning, Ryan. How are you doing? So focus on not smoke cigarettes, changing my life for the better. That's the current focus. Where am I? All right. Let me know how that is going. How is that focus going for you? And Loop. Hi. Good morning, Loop. How are you doing? And good morning, Ryan. Again, good morning. How are you doing? So that's one of the things that you're going to have to understand is when you start talking about focusing, you're going to talk about, you have to think about the thing you're thinking about, right? So in order to focus, you're going to have to focus on focusing, right? All right, that's going good. That's great. How to quit cigarette. Yeah, so let's stay on focus. So focus is part of it. Now, discipline is what I always talk about. Discipline is going to have 4 pillars. There's really only 4 pillars to discipline. You repeat them over and over. Once you have developed the skill set of discipline, this is what you want to be able to do. You want to be able to make, you want to turn discipline into autopilot. You want to be able to say, hey, I understand repetition is step 1, right? So how do you develop a smoking habit? You start smoking and then you do it on a regular basis. How do you break a smoking habit? Well, you stop smoking and you do it on a regular basis. So every time you get that done successfully, your body gets like a little reward. And so you may not be able to stop quitting all at once, but what you can say is, okay, I normally get up in the morning, I smoke a cigarette first thing in the morning. So I'm going to focus on, I'm going to start with getting rid of my morning cigarette. So that cigarette that I normally smoke the first hour of the day, I just want to get through this first hour without smoking a cigarette. And then you say, okay, well, I normally have one after breakfast or after going to getting myself ready for work or whatever. And then you say, okay, well, I'm going to focus on getting further along on that, right? So as I quit my vices, I become less focused and out of control. Change feels good, but I feel unproductive. So we're going to talk about that too, flow state. I can help you with that. I'll explain to you how that works. So one of the things that you're going to have to understand is, nicotine is very addictive. It's very addictive, which is why the focus has to be on versus what you don't want to do versus what you want to do, right? So let me kind of walk you through this process real quick. So usually when we're trying to break a habit, right? So when Well, so for smoking, right? And you guys are going to kind of, again, I apologize. My gimbal that has the light on it is dealing with issues this morning, so I apologize. There are going to be moments where I'm going to be difficult to see. Uh, but one of the things that you're going to have to realize is when you started smoking, what were you trying to quit? What habit were you trying to break when you started smoking? Were you trying to stop being healthy? Were you trying to quit breathing? Were you trying to quit chewing gum? Were you trying to quit biting your fingernails? Like what habits started the smoking, right? You think about it, you didn't start smoking to break a different habit. That's not how smoking starts for most people, right? Generally what happens is you pick that up and then you learn the behaviors and you focus on it. And you have to, right? Because, well, you got to get cigarettes. You need a lighter. You need matches. You need to know where you can smoke, when you can smoke, the types of things that you can do to smoke. So you have to go through that process. So if that's part of what you have to do, if you have to go through the process of making that a habit by focusing on what you need to do in order to be able to do it, then that's the same way you break the habit. And that's how earlier when Flow State said, as I quit my vices, I become less focused and out of control. Change feels good, but I feel unproductive. Well, where area are we trying to become more productive in? So as you're removing vices, what are you adding in to fill in that space? What is taking that energy? What are you now doing that is going to provide you with that same level of fulfillment and productivity? That's why don't focus on what you're quitting, focus on what you're doing, focus on what you're starting, right? So if you want to focus and say, this is why they say, oh, well, you know, if you want to quit smoking, you know, you do something like you start chewing gum or you find something else. Or they say, hey, go hand to mouth because it's just, you know, it's just the motion that you're addicted to or whatever the case may be. And they'll walk you through all of these things, right? But really, what we really have to understand and what we really need to focus on is what am I doing? What am I gaining? What am I building through this process? What's the change that's happening for me? Now we can start to use that focus to build that thing so that smoking, those vices that we're getting rid of, are no longer paramount. So we're no longer thinking about not smoking. We're thinking about doing whatever it is we're doing, right? And so if we want to switch cigarettes out for, I don't know, fruits and vegetables, if we understand that, hey, because I spend more time smoking throughout my day, I have to stop, I have to leave my workplace, I have to go outside, I have to step away, I have to do this or do that. So whatever time that you're spending smoking, you can say, okay, well, now that I'm moving the smoking out of my life, what things can I focus on more? What can I add to my life that I was unable to do before because of smoking, right? So for example, quitting smoking, right? Because here's the thing. Now, it's interesting, and I say this all the time, is that we oftentimes want to focus on one area of our life. And as we focus on that one area of our life, we have a tendency not to understand that most things are compounding, right? So smoking is a physical thing. However, smoking is also a financial thing. So now what are we doing with the money that we got back from smoking? What are we doing with the increased revenue from no longer smoking, right? So when you start to learn that, hey, I'm not smoking anymore, I'm getting back, I don't know, depending on where you are, let me know, how much do a pack of cigarettes cost you? About how much are you spending a month on cigarettes during before you started quitting? Uh, I think I have it better than most, though. I think at one point I must have had CVO one morning. started to smoke, and it tasted like it tasted bad. So that was it. Yeah, yeah. It doesn't taste good anymore. So it's not as rewarding as it was, right? Yeah. What about alcoholism? I've been physically dependent on it for 10 years. I've had seizures trying to quit. Okay, so Cam, a little bit more detail. So I'm just now seeing that, Cam. I like to stop, but it's also a crutch for me. I've done it for so long, I find it hard to imagine life without it. Okay, Cam, so you've done it for 10 years. So uh, you're now 58, where am I? All right, so Cam, quick question. Rolled your own. Got you. Hello, good morning, how are you doing? So here's the thing. Cam. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical doctor. I did see someone put in there that you should try what's called a chemical detox. I don't know anything about a chemical detox. I do know the first step has already been taken, though. The first step is that you want to. The first step is that you've fixed your priorities and your purpose to understand that this is no longer something you want to do. So then, as I was just saying, you have to then find out what it is you do want to do, right? Spend some time on it. Take the energy, take the time and figure out, and like, hey man, like, how dependent am I on alcohol? How difficult is it breaking the cycle of drinking alcohol? If you're still here, Cam, could you do me a favor, drop a thumbs up so I can know you're still here? I'd love to share some additional information with you about it so that we can kind of work through how to get this done. All right, Cam, still here, great. And so one of the things that you want to do is definitely having faith and belief in God is going to give us strength. But one of the things that has to happen, as I said before, is that we have to, even when we ask God, even when we pray and say, God, take this from me, remove this vice from me, we have to do some work. There's work that we have to do. So having faith is beneficial, it's very powerful, and I believe that it's a great way, a great catalyst for understanding our purpose and helping us to achieve. But we can't remove the I have to work, right? And so there's certain things you have to understand. So you need to figure out what is the chemical dependency on alcohol, right? So figure out, hey, how bad can alcohol be in terms of giving it up and to quit smoking? And you're right, there can be a point where your body can be addicted to it to a degree that it requires for you to change who you are. Like that going through the change of removing it from your life can be very difficult, right? But it's the same way with sugar. I've never had a dependency on alcohol, but it can be the same way with other things. Now, if you've put so much of it into your body, where you're at the point now where there are physical difficulties when you don't have it in your body, that can be expected, right? The detox, because what's the fix? Everybody should probably heard this before. Come on, BLM, man. Come on, man. Don't make me have to do this. Don't make me have to do this, dude. Come on. So one of the things, one of the things that's going to have to happen is when you're going through this process and you're taking a look at it. You said in AA have had loads of medical detoxes, but it's like a revolving door. Something brings me back to the alcohol, right? And so that's what I'm trying to say, Cam. Part of what you have to do is you have to understand that when there are things that are bringing you back with it, and this is why I said the original part of saying, hey, we have to look for a way to replace it. We have to replace it with something positive. Not just that, we have to know whether or not, not only replace it with something positive, we have to know exactly what's going on when we're going through this process. I'll let you know. So as a personal trainer, one time I crush my finger with a kettlebell, right? And my concern, I mean, this finger it was crushed. 80-pound kettlebell dropped on it. They call it a first break or something like that, FURST. And basically, the finger was just bones inside of it were just like dust. And they were like, yeah, so I'm like, so what do we do to fix it? And they were like, you deal with it. Like, you deal with the pain. So the fix for this injury is just getting over the injury. It's just surviving the pain of letting it heal. And so going through that process, one of the things that helped me, because it would be quite painful at times, and I could feel the pain going up my finger, one of the things that I had to understand is that, well, this is the process. I'm not doing any further damage. This is how it has to be dealt with. So live with the pain. So I continued to work out. I continued to do my training. And then eventually the pain subsided. It was pretty bad at first. They started me off on some codeine or something like that with Tylenol. Like, they gave me medicine that was like, hey, why don't you sleep for a couple of days? So it started off pretty bad. So what am I saying? What does this mean? If you're going through this process with alcohol, right? As challenging as it may be, it's great to have a support system. I believe AA got that part right from the very beginning. Being able to have people around you who have been through your experience and understand what you're dealing with is great. Mindset is great. Faith is great. But we have to start to understand, hey, what am I really doing to myself, right? What is this work that I'm doing, and how is it truly impacting me? Am I moving forward? Am I growing from this? Am I getting stronger? And then as we understand that, the question becomes, how and what way am I hurting myself? And what way is this, what way is this recovery going to permanently scar me? Or is there a way that's going to permanently scar me? You have to research that. You have to talk to the doctors. And then from that point, it is a fight, man. Listen, words are easy. There is no way of trying to explain how difficult it can be, especially to have like just the thoughts of, hey, I want to do better. Hey, I want to grow. Hey, I want to get better. I already have brain damage from alcohol. It's affected my health and a lot of it, and it affects my family around me, right? And so we understand the negative impacts of it, right? But we also understand that there are positive things from moving away from it. That's what I mean about focus is important. How do we focus on the positive? In the time where things suck, how do we focus on the positive? In the moments and in the times where it feels like, well, you know, the best thing to do is to just drink. Because if I take a little drink, I'll feel better. And if I take a little drink, I can deal with this better. I'll physically feel better. It'll calm me down. And then that addiction, that's how the addiction works, is it's telling you, okay, well, you did the right thing, right? And so I've never had this vice. I don't know, I can't give you direct advice on how to come off of it, but I can, and I am offering you these discipline principles because it's going to take it, right? So what's the principles of discipline? There are 4. They're very simple. It's repetition, patience, consistency, and perseverance. Again, I apologize, guys. My gimbal with my light is not available to me. So as we do this walk this morning, we will have stretches of the walk where I will not be quite visible to you guys, but hopefully you can hear me. So what does it mean when we go through these moments, or we go through these times where we need to apply this discipline? Well, it starts off simple. It's repetition, man, right? So whether it's cigarettes, whether it's alcohol, whatever habit it is, whether it's hard drugs, whatever the case may be, we have to start with, hey, I just want to get through this moment. I want to get through this day, but not just get through it. I want to focus on something else. What am I replacing this thing with? What is the step that I'm taking that's improving my life, right? So you start to do these things by taking that first step of, I want to get through the morning. Or maybe maybe for you, Cam, it's like, I just want to get through the night. I want to go to bed without taking my evening drink, right? Or maybe it is, hey, I don't want to buy. I'm gonna go to the store. I normally go and I buy this amount. I don't want to buy as much, or I don't want to bring as much into my house. That's what I need more of. I lack a lot of mental discipline. It's easy to just give up. I have also been a heroin addict, but I don't take that stuff anymore. And that's a hard vice to break. And what's happening is, as your body starts to come off of these things, right? So I don't know this for a fact, but I'm gonna ask it if you can answer this for me. Welcome in, guys. How you doing, Lyric Boss? One of the things that you're gonna have to understand, and I'm gonna ask you, Cam, is what about when you quit heroin, did the drinking become worse, right? So that's a question, right? Because remember, there's this replacement process, right? So when you went through the process of reducing, exactly, right? So the process of saying, hey man, I'm not gonna do this hard stuff, you were like, okay, well, I'll replace it with something else. So instead of picking up the needle, sorry to hear about that, man. Media, sorry to hear about the loss to heroin. So what happens, I think Ryan gave it a name, it's called cross addiction. So when I quit heroin, it brings all your raw emotions back and it's almost overwhelming, right? And so how do you not deal with that? You go to alcohol. Now you're quitting alcohol, the body is physically responding, right? And this is what discipline is so important. And the discipline of, you need to have something that starts with repetition. You have to just be able to do something just every day, right? When it comes to breaking the habit, you have to find something that you do. So that's why I say replacing is better. So versus finding something to not do, find something to do, right? So if you get up in the morning and you're used to taking a drink in the morning, get up in the morning and replace that drink with something else, right? Replace that drink with meditation. I'm gonna probably say it's gonna take something physical to replace it. I'm fairly sure that in the difficult times, like trying to meditate or think about something else is gonna be challenging because your body is physically gonna be asking you to take that drink, right? So it's probably gonna be a moment when you're trying to take that first step where you have to say, well, what am I gonna replace this with? You have to choose something to actually do, right? Right, there are a lot of bad habits out there. There are a lot of things that you can do where you can overconsume, like eating healthy. If you overdo reducing your caloric intake, you all of a sudden become, you have anorexia. So there has to be balance in a lot of ways, right? Thank you very much for being here. So there is, let me see, what do we have? We have Cam that says, any habits are bad. True, they can be. Bolden, exactly. Breaking the habit, like Chester Barrington said in his music. I'm not familiar with Chester Barrington. Cam, boredom is a very big part of it as well. Exactly, I believe that, right? One of the things that has to happen as you go through the process is you have to understand that patient part. First, finding something positive to replace it with, right? Awesome. Finding something positive to replace it with gives you something to do versus giving you something to not do, right? And then having that thing to do allows for you to go out and be more productive in that process. So you're not thinking about not drinking, you're actively doing something else. So what else do we want to do, guys? I am extending this. My walk normally ends at 5 due to the difficulty. I'm extending it because I do have to get to my checkpoint. So I'm on a little longer than I normally am, guys. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate your patience. I thank you for hanging out and being a part of the walk this morning. And so what are the things that we do? What are the ways, what are the positive things that we can find to put into our life? There are quite a bit of them, right? And I can let you know, once you start with the repetition of this positive thing that you're going to do, you do this positive thing with repetition. You have to establish the patience to understand that I'm not going to do this today. This is not something that's going to be fixed today. This is not something that's just going to immediately be done with. That's what patience is for. So you can remind yourself that even though you're not perfect, even though you haven't finished, even though there may be difficulties and slip-ups, there may be points when you are challenged and you feel like you can't go on, even when those days or those times happen, you can continue to fight. You can continue to walk. Breaking a habit on his song, okay? Sometimes slow is better. You can take more in. Correct. So once you do that with the patience, now we're going to add the next part, which is consistency. Consistency is when you start to set a plan, right? So consistency is repetition on steroids. Consistency is where growth is made, right? Repetition is about maintaining. Repetition is just about saying, hey, we need to hold it here, right? I have to keep doing what I've been doing on a regular basis so I can stay where I am. I don't want to go back anymore, right? I want to make sure I'm putting in the effort to not lose any additional ground. I want to make sure I'm putting in the effort to make sure that I'm continuing to stay the course, right? That's the repetition of it. So what happens after that, like I said, is patience. Consistency is where you say, I want to now have a plan where I'm going to improve, where things are going to get better. I'm going to start to see growth. This is the darkest stretch of the walk without a light. You may not see me for a couple of minutes. So now that you've moved through that process and you've understand that you have to establish this consistency, the next thing that you're going to have to understand is after establishing the consistency, you're going to need to continue to move forward, and going from consistency is where you're going to have to persevere. And perseverance is when it really gets tough. It's when specifically for you, Cam, it's when the seizures kick in, the chills kick in, when those things that you're working on, let's say you replace drinking with fitness, when the workouts get more difficult, when the people who you're making this change for don't see the value in it anymore, when they lose patience, when they don't support you in the way you believe you need to be supported, when you get up and it just seems like nothing's working. The gym is full today, or it's raining and you can't get out for your run, or you're just physically in pain. Like all of those things are things that you have to persevere because you're still trying to achieve a goal. And so it takes focus to focus. And so you still have to focus on what am I trying to achieve and what can I do to continue to grow and move in that direction. I think it's very important to understand, guys, that focus is super important, that focus is how we take what we are working on and we really put it directly into work on our goal, right? So let's stop running from things and start running to things. I use this example a lot. I use this saying a lot, and I use it because in a lot of situations, that's how people live. That's how we as humans live, where we don't run to things, we're constantly running away from things. And here's the problem with running away from something. If you're running away from it, you don't know, right? You don't know where you're running to. So how do you find safety? How do you know when you have achieved? How do you know when you have reached your goal? Truth is, no one can want it more than you, 100%. That's my wife dropping that knowledge. Look at you dropping the knowledge on my chat, without question. I almost said my name. I thought that was my name for a second. So definitely pray for strength and for guidance. And this is not about doing it alone. It's definitely not about doing it alone. And so one of the things that we have to make sure we're always focusing on, one of the things that we have to make sure we're always looking at in anything that we do in our life is we want to make sure that we're using these discipline principles. And this isn't just for Cam, guys. Like, this isn't just for breaking addictions. This isn't just for building good habits. This is for life development. This is for building your finances. This is for growing your family. This is for improving on your job. This is for helping with your development and your education. Like, these principles of discipline, they apply. If they work in one arena, they work in every arena. The reason I come out here and I do this walk and I have these chats is because I'm telling you from experience, from having applied these principles to my life, I understand how they work. I've seen the positive that they can do. I've seen it make changes in my relationships with my wife and my children. I've seen it make changes in my financial situations. I've seen it make changes in my work-life balance. All of those areas are impacted because you have to understand, by creating a mindset and a purpose, knowing where you're going, it gives you a focus. It gives you an area by which to set the standard for all of your behaviors. And by using discipline, you can move towards the goal of achieving in all of those areas. So no, this is not about just can you break addiction? Can you quit alcohol? Or can you quit cigarettes? This is about purpose, which is why I said what I said before. Let's stop looking for ways to break habits and let's start looking for ways to build new ones, to build success, to build a future for ourselves. Thank you very much for the sub. I'm up every morning, 4:30 to 5. Continue with the chats. I love to have you be here on a regular basis. And then one of the things that we have to keep in mind, guys, and this is what I'm talking about. So you remember I talked about perseverance and patience? I have a tendency to try not to remove people from the chat. And for example, when you take people like Bustin' Loose and you look at the comments that he's made throughout the chat, and you understand that as part of your growth, as part of what you do in your life, you will have you will have distractions. That's what focus is so important. There will be things intentionally placed in your life that are designed to distract you, to deter you, to prevent you from reaching your goal. And so when I leave people like Bustin' Loose in the chat, you have to understand these people are going to be there. They don't have anything of purpose for themselves, right? And so similar to bad habits, their only purpose is to try to destroy others, to try to bring other people down. You have to learn to avoid those distractions, right? So you avoid those distractions by focusing on what's important, what's your goal, by maintaining your repetition, by understanding that the people who want to see you do well, and there are far more people in every area of all of our lives who want to see us do well than there are those that want to see us do bad. Don't use hate for fuel. Hate is a dirty fuel. It doesn't burn clean. Hate is the type of fuel that will burn you as quickly as it'll burn those that you are targeting your hate at. Don't use hate. Use the understanding and the principles of discipline and understanding of your purpose to drive you. Focus on the people who love you. Focus on the people who want to see you do well. Focus on your goals, because by investing your time and your energy into the people who care, you're going to get the greatest reward, right? So I'm not going to sit on here and I'm not going to argue and I'm not going to yell at Bustin' Loose and I'm not going to tell him, hey, stop being mean. I'm not going to try to chastise him. That's not the focus, right? That's a distraction. So what do? We continue to talk. We continue to build. We continue to understand. We continue to grow our knowledge and continue to develop a greater level of understanding and development within ourselves. And then we can push past, we can push through, and we can become stronger. We can achieve more. Hey guys, if you haven't done so yet, please drop a thumbs up. I appreciate a thumbs up, a like, If you haven't had a chance to take a look at the channel, head past, you can take a look at the channel. You can like and subscribe. As I said before, I don't have my gimbal with the light this morning, so there will be parts of the morning where you won't be able to see me, but I do want to appreciate all you guys for stopping in. As I always say, and what today's talk was about, and we covered it in a number of different ways, and I'm letting you know it does not matter what the topic is. It does not matter the arena. It does not matter what the specific goal is. They all have to be achieved through discipline. And this morning we talked specifically about the leadership competency of focus and how being able to focus allows for us to apply discipline, create a path, a plan, and achieve our goals, guys. It's always great to have you here. I appreciate you stopping by. You guys take care. You have a blessed Monday, and I'll see you guys later on. Take care, guys. It's always good to have you in. All right. Have a blessed day. Thank you so much. The motivation in the morning, I'm here for it all the time, guys. All right, guys. Take care, Cam. Thank you. Please join again. We can continue to support and encourage. You guys take care. Have a blessed day.